Yeah. Welcome into the Rant. I am Pugs Moran. We do this every day, Monday through Friday, live from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios in the beautiful E Gallery in Dallas's fabulous design district. What is this show? I don't know. If I'm being honest with you, I think it's kind of morphing before our very ears, eyes, whatever. I don't know what we're using to ingest this. So what it started out as is just a rundown of current events, right? I was trying to do a kind of talk radio that doesn't really happen anymore, which is just, it started out, it was just going to be me and a group of people sitting around goofing on like the day's news, but then nobody else could do it with me. So it became me doing a news rant, a rip and read. These are the top stories from today. And I'm going to give you, that's what it was. And then, over like Christmas in the last couple of months, it's like, man, the news is all just really shitty. Like I don't want to talk to people about this. I don't even want to think about this. Now, these past few days have been a good example of it. Absolutely everything that I could talk about is just something that splits us in half. It's just something that is like, oh man. So the show is morphing. What was once just me ripping and reading the hot topics and headlines of the day, I'm still going to have a little bit of that because I still like that because I'm a news junkie. If there's something big and there's something that we can dig into, we'll cover that. But I think we're going to be doing more lifestyle stuff, more just hangout stuff. I'm still gonna try and make sure that at the end of whatever this stream is, I'm still going to try and make sure that we're all pretty much prepped up on all the nonsense that's happening, but there's going to be other things. And we're going to spend time on other things. Less, I don't know, crucial and pressing things. But things that bond us together, things we can laugh about, things we can have fun with. I'm trying to get this show to a place where I can have guests. Like I would love to have somebody sit in with me every day. I've proven to myself over the past 3 years, we do this rant every single day for 3 years. I've proven to myself that I can do it alone. You guys remember that? Remember back in the beginning? Many of you were here in the beginning. I didn't think I could do it. As a matter of fact, one of my early shows, I think I gave myself a panic attack or an anxiety attack. I was like, I don't know. I've never done this before. So here we are 3 years later. All right, I can do it. But I would love, eventually I'd like to I see these people. You know what I'm tired of? I'm tired of looking at podcasts by dudes who are my age who spent 25 years building up, a tire business in Sacramento, and now they're retired and they got money. So they're just building these incredible sets and they got a director with multiple cameras and they can have 2 camera shots and they can do close-ups on. That's not what we do here. That's not how I played it. And what I do entirely because of the team that I do have. But it is my hope to now, in the coming months, try and do something a little bit different. Maybe we pull the camera back, we build a bigger set, and we just do a tight 2-shot. I don't know. We'll have to figure all of that out. But the show is morphing. Today is going to be an example of that because there's going to be a couple of things that I want to talk about today that is not news, but it's just stuff that I want to get into. Trends, I guess, more. Maybe we'll do more trend talk than news talk. How does it all play out? That's not going to change. 4 quarters is how we do the rant. I perform it as a stream of consciousness, which is just me talking. Because, like I just said, nobody to talk to. It's just me talking and no breaks, no stops, no nothing. Whatever is next in my head, I say it. And because of this, the nature of that is that we could be in the weeds all day long. So I've created 4 independent segments that fit together to create the overall rant. The first segment is a look back at history. Just pick a couple of things that happened on this day, talk about them. Second one is birthdays. People born on this day, do we like them or do they suck? That's kind of what that segment is. Third is deads. Same as birthdays, except kind of the opposite. People who died on this day. And that's like, do we like them? Do we think they went to heaven or did they go to hell? Those are the first 3 quarters. And then the rest of it is just us talking like people. Talk radio, just people talking. Fence post conversation is what I like to call it. Got no small talk today. It's the weekend. I got my kid this weekend. I'm preoccupied with all of that. I don't know what we're going to do this weekend. I think probably tomorrow, if the weather permits, we're going to go out. We're going to do a whole bunch of long snapping practices. There's no games on tomorrow, right? There's nothing. And it's far too early to spend a Saturday watching college basketball. No, not yet. Late February, maybe, if you're trying to get an edge on March Madness, right? And you're trying to figure out who's who before you make an ass of yourself. I've done that. I've been like, oh, shit, I'm going to have to start talking about March Madness, and I haven't watched any basketball. So, but whatever. I don't know what we're going to do. Any movies out? I don't even know if there's any movies out that I want to see. I watched a really good one last night. All right, here we go. Small talk. There we are. Man, I found a movie on Netflix that I didn't even know was there. You know, I like the documentaries. Have you guys ever seen, and I don't even know what it's called. It would help if I knew what it was called. Have you guys ever seen the Gene Wilder documentary on Netflix? Oh my God, is that fantastic. I mean, I always knew I loved Gene Wilder. I guess I just didn't know how much. There you go. That's my pick to click for the weekend. Hi, Cody. Cody's in the chat room. Cody's going to be one of my first guests. He reached out to me. He said, Cody, of course, Cody Dangalang from the old Pugs and Kelly days. Cody reached out to me, and he wants an opportunity to vent his frustrations should the Cowboys. I believe it was Schottenheimer. He does not want Schottenheimer. That's why Cody's in the chat room. He's getting his sports on. Cody says, with the Raiders announcing Pete Carroll, just waiting for Jerry to make the call and ruin our lives again. Well, there's a lot going on today in the coaching world, in the coaching search. We've got new openings at offensive coordinator. Bubba Slowick is out down there in Houston, which I don't know what that does. I mean, look, here's what I know. I know that there are a lot of teams that are looking for offensive coordinators, and there's two teams that are still looking for a head coach. The Raiders, apparently, they got Pete Carroll today. Good for them. That's a win. That's a win. Pete Carroll and Jim Harbaugh. Oh, man. Again, that's pretty cool. They hate each other. And now they're in the same division again. We'll do a whole coaching carousel update. But, yeah, I guess that's the big news. Pete Carroll is Pete Carroll's with the Raiders. Bobby Slowick is fired. He's in the wind. What did the Jags do? Did the Jags get Liam Cohn? Yeah, I think they did. All right, we'll go through all that. That'll be one of the things we'll get caught up on. Also, one of the things that we're going to talk about today, I don't know. I because of the internet, look, everything started getting squirrely when we all started saying stuff we saw on the internet. And then in the early days, oftentimes the stuff we said we saw on the internet was wildly wrong. So then we're like, I don't know what to believe anymore. And then, people just gaslighting and lying to us about everything for years on end. Then social media, the arrogant anonymity that affords trolls in social media. Oh, God. Forgot what I was saying. I totally see. That's what happens with a rent. What the was I talking about? What was I going into there? I don't even know. I lost my train of thought. That's what happens. See, this is why I should have somebody I'm talking to. This is why. Barney says it's titled Remembering Gene Wilder. Oh, it's so good. Oh, that guy is so good. Peter says he's obsessed with NCAA ball. Cody says with the Raiders announcing Pete Carroll, just waiting for Jerry to make the call and ruin our lives again. Was it a Liam Cohn thing? Was I going to rant on Liam Cohn? Was that what I was trying to get into? So people are so stupid. People are so stupid. Do people think Liam Cohn is Jewish? Is that a thing? Is that how dumb people are? And is that how filled with hate people are? That was going on. It was going on Twitter last night when the rumors were that Liam Cohn was going to. Apparently, people in Miami are upset. They feel betrayed by Liam Cohn. Apparently, Liam Cohn's resume is just filled with him going back and forth between places. And so people were. Look, the guy's name is Liam Cohn. Liamcoen. I suppose if you're geared towards, hating Jews or, just that kind of thing, you might be stupid enough to see that name and go, that sounds Jewish. All of it was anti-Semitic against Liam Cohn. They're like, that is typical of those people. Other posts were like, the name says it all. C-O-E-N? Brother, that's as Irish as it gets. What Liam C-O-E-N? That dude's probably got a brogue. And you morons think he's Jewish? Oh, you're so unworldly. Anyway, that was funny. I got caught up in that last night. Also, we ended yesterday's show with me playing on Grok, which is just awesome. Apparently, I saw this tweet. I haven't tried it yet, but apparently if you ask Grok, which is the Twitter AI bot that knows everything and can answer anything, if you ask Grok if Elon Musk is evil, it says yes. Or if you ask it, is Elon Musk a bad guy? It says, yeah, I don't know what it is. That's fun. That's fun. Grok is fun. I didn't do any Grok role-playing last night. But I can promise you, I got my son this weekend. Oh, my God. We're going to Grok the hell out. Grok the house, baby. We're going to be improvising with Grok all weekend long. It's such a great tool. It is an incredibly fun writing tool to just improv with Grok. Funny shit. He's the greatest straight man in history. All right. Anyway, what else? Anything else? Nah, what do you say we just get started? We got a late start today, so let's begin the show. It is The Rant. I'm Pugs Moran. These are the glamorous Kelly Moore Memorial Studios in the beautiful E-Gallery. We are a part of the RadioMisfits.com network, Radio Misfits Dallas, live from the Design District. It is the 24th day of January, year of our Lord, 2025. Almost said 2024. That would have been wrong. January 24th is, do the math with me, the 24th day of the year. 341 days remain, so as we like to say around these parts, get those New Year's Eve plans started. Let's get started. Antecedently on this day, these are the events that have helped shape our understanding of what January the 24th has represented. On this day, we're going way back. All right, Peabody, let's go. 41. I don't even know what 41 what. Just 41. 41 what? Does that mean if there is no okay, I'm going to go with AD 41, the year 41. Claudius is proclaimed emperor of Rome by the Praetorian Guard after they assassinate the previous emperor, his nephew Caligula. Oh, Caligula, man. You guys know the story of Caligula? He's great. He's great. Caligula, Nero. I mean, look, there were some good Roman emperors. Like, I think we see the movies and we think they were all evil. There were some good ones. There were some ones that were beloved by the people. I believe Claudius might actually be one. Yeah, but not guys like Nero. Nero was not liked. Caligula was a dirty bird. All right, antecedently on this day, 41, Claudius ascends to Roman emperor because Caligula gets killed, his nephew. Antecedently on this day in 1848, California gold rush. James W. Marshall finds gold at Sutter's Mill near Sacramento. This is always fun. Because, the gold was discovered in 1848, but we call it the 49ers because it took people a while to get there. You couldn't just jump on a plane. It's not like they discovered gold in January, on this date, January of 1848. So there was a whole year of 1848. Yet historically, it's like the gold rush of 1849. It took people forever to get there and start finding stuff. Antecedently on this day in 1935, Gottfried Kruger Brewing Company starts selling the very first canned beer. Hey, happy birthday, can of beer. Born on this day in 1935. Born on this day in 1984, Apple computers go on sale for the very first time. I know I'm saying born on this day. I'm distracted. I'm watching two giant pandas at the National Zoo play in the snow, and it's pretty damn cute. It's really distracting, if I'm being honest. A can of beer, born on this day, antecedently in 1935. Apple computer. So here's the thing with Apple computer, because we talked about it yesterday. Remember yesterday? We said it was on this day. It was me yesterday. Let's go into the way back. This scene from yesterday. It was on this date. Oh, I wasn't wearing a hat yesterday. Hold on. It was on this day today during the Super Bowl that Apple debuted that 1984 commercial. All right, now we're back. Now it's me. Isn't that cool? Yeah, thank you to our pretend producer for putting that clip together from yesterday. So they went on sale today. There you go. So the first commercial was during the Super Bowl, which was so many years ago yesterday, but then today they went on sale. It was on this day in 1984, Apple computers, the Macintosh, go on sale in the United States. Antecedently on this day in 1989, notorious serial killer Ted Bundy, with over 30 known victims, is executed by the electric chair. Ted Bundy, man. Let me tell you something. Ted Bundy was hot. All right. If Ted Bundy wasn't hot, he would probably wait. Actually, I should know this now. Now I don't want to run my mouth. Hey, I think Ted Bundy, I don't know. He's just a weird hot serial killer. That's just the strange thing, right? Serial killers usually they kill people against their will. Ted Bundy was taking chicks home. Girls were getting good looking like college co-eds were getting into Ted Bundy's car. I am so glad I don't have daughters. I swear, I have seen it. I have seen how stupid girls are. I always tell this story. I was at this bar. We're all having a good time. I'm there with my my son's mother at the time we were just dating. But she's there with all of her friends, right? My son's mother, all of her friends, and we're at this bar. We're having a good time. All of her friends are really hot, okay? So when you have a bunch of hot girls, you're going to get, dudes, any dude. So we've been there for a while, and we're at this bar, and there's some hot dude, some like hot 2005 dude, right? Frosted Tips or whatever. Was that even a look? Is that 95 maybe? Anyway, he's like talking to her and he's like, yeah. This girl, one of my son's mother's friends. He's like, yeah, we're all going to get in the car as soon as this bar closes and we're going to go to Houston and we're going to see Kiss or something, some band. It's the dude they just met. And I'm looking at these dudes, right? And all of my dudes are looking at these dudes and we're like, these dudes are scumbags. These dudes are not. They were obviously dirtbags, but the guy talking to my son's mother's friend was hot, like Ted Bundy hot, like still a dirtbag. This girl got in the car with them. Didn't know him for, knew him for an hour, gets in a car drunk with him, takes off. We're all like, one of my friends was a cop. And I'm like, he said, you want me to say something? And I go, you got to make her make a big girl decision. I'm like, somebody's got to talk to her. And then her friends, her own girlfriends. Well, of course, there were two of them that were the problem. Her own friends, like my wife and stuff, my future wife, they were like, don't come back with us. Don't do that. Blah, blah, blah. But then there were two girls who were like, this is what she does. Just let her go. This is what, and it turned into a whole thing. And I'm like, man, I don't ever want daughters. Girls make the worst decisions just because he's cute. He seems nice. I can change him. Oh, my God. Ted Bundy is a great example of that. Ted Bundy, dead on this day. Or they put him down on this day in 1989. Antecedently on this day in 2018, here's another one. Remember this name, Larry Nassar? He was the guy that diddled all of our national treasures. This guy had his fingers in our national pot of gold, our treasures. Our little girls who we watch grow up. Well, I don't, because I don't watch gymnastics. And if I'm being honest, anybody that watches teenager gymnastics doesn't have skin in the game. And by that, I mean a daughter of their own. It's weird, okay? It's just weird. But we all come to know these girls on the Olympic stage and we fall in love with them. We get their backstories. We see how adorable they are. We watch their parents rooting for them. And now all of that has been ruined because now we have to know Larry Nassar was just diddling them all and nobody was listening. All right, Larry Nassar on this day. Former Dr. Larry Nassar is sentenced to 175 years in prison after being found guilty of using his position to sexually abuse female gymnasts. Now, if I just wait a couple hours, I'm sure Barney will send me something that says Nasser was innocent, because Barney's in the business of defending pedophiles. Sorry, Barney. I don't mean to throw you under the bus, but I didn't even watch your stupid Sandusky thing. He sends me a thing. He's like, Sandusky's innocent. I'm like, you send me a clip of a guy who probably wrote a book and is trying to sell a book that offers a counter opinion. Stop it. I'm not even going to waste my time. I familiarized myself with that case when it was going on. Okay. Like, Jerry Sandusky was a child molester, Barney. No, he wasn't. All right, let's keep going. What do we got, Larry? I'm sorry, Barney. Now I feel bad that I threw Barney under the bus. It's fun. I ignore. I can't get it. Sometimes some of you people send me notes that I just can't. I just can't with you goofs. All right, that's gonna do it. That's Ed Seedley on this day. Let's move on to quarter two. This one's called Birthdays. They claim it's their birthday. Let's go. Born on this day, 1905, J. Howard Marshall. He's a rich guy. He's just a rich guy. He was a rich guy at a time when rich guys weren't famous. Remember, rich guys weren't famous until like the 1980s. Rich guys were secret. They were like mafia bosses. You didn't really know who the rich guys were. Now they're all famous. Now they're all like insta-famous or whatever. J. Howard Marshall was one of those guys. He was rich. But we know J. Howard Marshall, born on this day in 1905, because like 80 years later, he would marry Anna Nicole Smith. Yeah, he's the creepy old billionaire guy who used to get wheelchaired into the strip club that Anna Nicole Smith was working at. Anna Nicole Smith. She was a stripper down in like, I don't know, Mejia, Texas. I don't know that's where she's from, right? Mejia. She's a stripper. And by the way, I always say that the most beautiful women in America are just somehow tightly condensed into the Texas, Oklahoma area. I mean, it is just insane. The old thing where it's like, you go to the Dairy Queen in a town of 15 people and you see the most beautiful woman you've ever. It's true. It's true. It's why Hollywood, it's why history is littered with celebrity sex symbols from Texas and Oklahoma. And to a much greater extent, the porn industry. Just filled with people from Texas and Oklahoma. Point is, I got no explanation for it. With that said, imagine what dirt backward ass strip club, Anna Nicole, you walk into in like dirt dust, Texas. Howard Marshall, this billionaire, he's getting wheeled in there every day. He's like 90. They're wheeling him in. He's got his colostomy bag or whatever. I'm just saying, when you go into a place like that in the middle of nowhere, you do not expect to find Anna Nicole Smith, okay? Anna Nicole Smith, probably a day shifter at that place. That's how beautiful the women in Texas are. Just they fall off the ceiling looking like that. It's crazy. For an ugly man like myself who came from the Midwest, it's been quite amazing. Ugly guys get beautiful girls down here. Like, some of them are billionaires. J. Howard Marshall. How crazy is that? He was like 80. It was like an 80-year age difference. Nah, I don't know. It was like, what, a 70-year age difference, something. J. Howard Marshall, born on this day in 1905. Born on this day in 1941. I almost said one of them dudes, because, I have my list of them. He's not one of them dudes. He's not. As a matter of fact, I don't really know all that much about his background, other than people think he's really cheesy. Some people think he's really cheesy. And then people like me think he's just like one of the greats of all time. Born on this day in 1941, the great Neil Diamond. Neil Diamond. Damn right. He's cool. Neil Diamond's cool, man. And I'm sorry. He's a tremendous songwriter. He's an incredible performer. He's just the whole package. And he looks funny doing it. Neil Diamond does not look... Neil Diamond looks like he owns a shoe store in Brooklyn. Neil Diamond looks like he's your dentist. Neil Diamond never looked like what he was, which is one of the most successful And boy, money. Ooh, man, the songs he's written. Rock performers and songwriters of all time. Neil Diamond, born on this day in 1941. Born on this day in 1943. Let's get into this. This is crazy. I want to try and put this into perspective, okay? So I was thinking about this today because I saw that this had come up, that this was the anniversary that this was her birth. So I thought to myself, my God, what would that be like today? To kind of, all right, I'm burying the lead. Okay, so happy birthday, Sharon Tate, okay? Actress Sharon Tate. Sharon Tate was the hottest female actress in Hollywood, okay? She had just come off like a Golden Globe nomination. She was dating and pregnant with the baby of the most important director of the time in Hollywood, Roman Polanski. She was about to explode. She was the name on everybody's list. She had done these successful things and she had stood out and they're like, Sharon Tate. Valley of the Dolls. That's it. I think the Bellhop. I think she did a couple of Jerry Lewis films. Point is this. I'm like, she was slaughtered in her home in Hollywood. And yeah, I know it's like, it's not that people forgot because they didn't. I mean, it was the Manson murders. It became, a nationally galvanized story. But I was trying to think, like, what would that be like for people who only know that story as history? What would be something that could happen today? God forbid. This is not, trust me. Well, what would that be like? And I'm like, that would be like if we woke up this morning and learned that Sydney Sweeney had been slaughtered in her apartment. Think about what? No, I did not mean to hit the wrong button. Think about that, though. Like, think about how crazy the news would be this morning if Sydney Sweeney was slaughtered. I mean, that's essentially what Sharon Tate was. Except I think Sharon Tate was probably more successful because Sharon Tate had already had a Golden Globe win, right? She'd actually, gotten one of these things that means, oh boy, they're one to watch. Sydney Sweeney is also very successful. But man, that's crazy. On this day, born in Oh, and by the way, let's take a look at her. This is, she was gorgeous. Here she is. Sharon Tate. She was sexy. She was 1960s hot girl sexy. Let's see what else we got. Look at hippie girls. Kind of looks like Bo Derek there. I don't know what that is. Beautiful Anne Margaret. Look at that. Sexy. Big doe eyes. Oh my God. It is. It's like if we woke up and something terrible of this nature had happened to Sydney. Who's that? Okay, I like that. That's cute. Just beautiful. All right, born on this day, Sharon Tate. Born on this day, 1943. Born on this day in 1947, Warren Zevon. Where was London? Born on this day in 1949. One of my favorites. Not one of them dudes, but one of my all-timers. There's a difference between, them dudes and all-timers. Them dudes are a category of individual celebrity or historical figure who I am incredibly impressed with. I'm just that they operate on a different level. That's one of them dudes. This is just one of my all-timers. This is just like one of my up there with John Candy and Peter Sellers and just an all-time Chris Farley. Who am I talking about? Who's missing? When I say that my all-timers are John Candy, Chris Farley, Peter Sellers, who's missing? John Belushi is missing. John Belushi, born on this day, not Jim. Jim's fine. I feel bad for Jim. Jim's fine. I feel bad for him. I'm talking about John. I'm talking about the force of comedy nature that was John Belushi in his prime. Why do I say I feel sorry for Jim? Because Jim Belushi's awesome. Jim Belushi is great, man. You know what Jim Belushi is? Jim Belushi is Tim Allen. Except the problem is that, Tim Allen doesn't have, I don't know who as a brother. George Carlin as an older brother, right? I think we look, or at least I do. I look at Jim Belushi like he was supposed to be, not supposed to be. That's unfair to put on him. But when John Belushi died, and then the very next season, Saturday Night Live added Jim Belushi to the cast, we were all like, well, I'm a dumb kid, I guess. We're like, You want to see the first time I ever saw Jim Belushi on SNL? This is so genius. This was one of the funniest bits from SNL I've ever seen, and it was our introduction to Jim Belushi. And it's why I just assumed that we got another John here. We didn't. We got a very successful sitcom and film actor who is not an icon like his brother. Hold on, let me see if I can find this. Hold on. What would that be? Hold on. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Okay, so here it is. So this is how we were introduced to Jim Belushi, and this is why I kind of thought, oh, maybe we got something. This is really funny. This is one of the funniest old SNL skits ever. All right, here you go. Jim Belushi's introduction to us on Saturday Night Live.
All right, Louis, I'm going.
Go right on ahead, Mr. Gerber. I'll be just fine.
Yes, I'll be right back. I'm just going to pay this bill.
Yes, sir.
Remember, Louis, every customer gets a receipt.
Yes, Mr. Gerber. Yes, sir.
You're a good boy, Louis.
Thank you, Mr. Gerber. Can I help you?
Oh, no, thank you. I'm just browsing.
We're having a red tag sale on tuna fish today. The chunky white, not the fancy albacore.
No, thank you.
Q-tips?
Not today.
If you need any help, I'll be right here.
Okay.
All right, so here's something I need to point out in this sketch. Again, we're seeing the first time that Jim Belushi. I don't even know if it's the first time he was on. It's the first time I noticed him. And I was a big John Belushi fan. I was very upset when John Belushi died. So I remember this was me going, oh my God, he's as funny as his brother. What we just saw, did you notice that? He was doing John Belushi in the cafeteria line from Animal House. Remember, he's looking around and he's like eating all of that. Jim Belushi is definitely riffing some of his brother's comedic chops here. Let's watch again. Right there, round. That's another thing. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted on this. Do you guys remember when every convenience store, the back wall was just filled with cigarettes? It was just a great wall of cigarettes, like in this bodega. And then underneath it, porn. It was cigarettes and porn. Now it's all what? Like vapes and stuff like that?
Sir? Sir? Do you live around here?
Yeah. Just right up the street here.
What building would that be, sir?
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. I live far away.
Wow. But being honest, this isn't nearly as funny as I remembered it from 30 years ago. This is actually kind of tedious at this point, but maybe that's because I know what the payoff is. We'll just get to the payoff. All right, there's the payoff. See, he's walking around. He's like, he's obviously stealing stuff. All right, that's happy birthday. Born on this day, John Belushi, his brother Jim, never amounted to anything. That was a long way to go for absolutely nothing. My apologies. Let's move on. Born on this day, 1951. Here's a fun guy. All right, John Belushi's a legend. He's great. He's an icon. Here's a fun guy. Here's a fun Gen X guy who we all had to deal with for a number of years. And I think a lot of people took big shits on him. I was always like, I kind of like him. There was a sweetness. There was an innocence. And then I come to learn, like years later, he was one of the most generous people to up and coming comedians that stand-up comedy has ever known. And yet still, this guy kind of gets crapped on a little bit. He was great. He is great. He's still alive. His name, born on this day in 1951, Yakov Smirnoff, by the country in Soviet Union. You know, he used to do that stuff. He caught lightning in a bottle. The dude, his timing was everything. He was a comedy performer in Russia. And I don't know, in 77 or something, he like got out and he came over here, like defected. And then he hit the comedy stages of America doing this character. That wasn't him, by the way, that character on stage. That's not really what he was like at all. Not even his name. His name isn't Yakov Smirnoff. He chose Yakov Smirnoff because his real name was way too Jewishly ethnic. Like it was way, and he's like, that might sound Russian, but that ain't, people aren't going to go, obviously Russian. No. So he changed it to two things that he knew Americans understood about Russia. And Yakov was the name, first name. And Smirnoff was the vodka. He's like, they know the name vodka Smirnoff, so I'm going to do that. Anyway, check this out. Oh, here's another fun fact about Yakov Smirnoff that drives me nuts. And I tell you about these whenever I find these little fun facts about people. You know how it drives me nuts when two people who will go on to be super famous somehow hang out or are roommates or friends when they aren't even close to being famous? You know, it's like when you hear like not Leonardo, that's a bad example. You're so stupid. Leonardo DiCaprio's a bad example because he's been famous since he's been like 2. But like, okay, classically, Dustin Hoffman was looking for a roommate when he was a waiter in New York City in the 1950s. So he put an ad out. And the first guy that responded was like Robert Duvall. So Dustin Hoffman, unknown, not famous, not a pot to piss in, Dustin Hoffman was like hanging out and friends with unknown, not a pot to piss in, Robert Duvall. Anyway, those kinds of things drive me nuts, right? Tommy Lee Jones and Al Gore are college roommates. Just the random selection of who lives with who in a dorm room, put Tommy Lee Jones and Al Gore, and you know. Oh, and then they had a third roommate, Eric Siegel, who's the writer who wrote Love Story. How did that happen? These things drive me nuts. They're crazy. Here's another one, Yakov Smirnoff. Yakov Smirnoff, when he moved to Los Angeles, I actually have this, don't I? Okay. Yakov Smirnoff needed a place to live. He shows up in Los Angeles, needs a place to live, opens up a newspaper, responds to an ad. 2 people are looking for a third roommate. Yakov Smirnoff goes there and becomes the third roommate. You know who the other 2 guys were? Andrew Dice Clay and Biff from the Back to the Future movies. Tom Wilson. How crazy is that? See, I hate that. I hate that because of what it says about me. There has been nobody that I've ever lived with who has gone on to do anything great, which means that I'm probably not going to either. I mean, I've lived with people who've gone on to do things that are cool, but nothing memorable or great. Yakov Smirnoff, born on this day in 1951. Born on this day in 1968. I hope she's okay. I think she was sick like a year ago. Mary Lou Retton. She better not have been diddled by that Dr. Larry Nasser from earlier today. I'll tell you that much. Born on this day in 1968. Born on this day in 1978. Oh, my God, one of my favorite performers. Oh, my God, I love this person. I mean, I don't even know where I first saw her. At this point, she's like ubiquitous in almost everything that I think is funny from the past 20 years. Happy birthday. Born on this day in 1978. Kristen Shaw. She's got that crazy voice. Bob's Burger. Look, every cartoon that you've ever enjoyed features Kristen Shaw. Flight of the Conchords. Like that's not even the first place I saw her. The first place I saw Kristen Schaal was in Conan. Was she like a regular on Conan, where she was like she was a writer but also a performer? She was a crazy person in the audience or whatever. I think that's where I first saw her. Kristen Schaal, happy birthday, born on this day, 1978. Do you have any idea how much money she has? I do, because I know what voiceover actresses make, and I know what voiceover actresses who are on hits, I know what they make. She's probably the most in-demand female voiceover artist in America. I would say she probably makes, you know what she makes? She makes NFL quarterback money. There you go. Wrap your mind around that. I bet you Kristen Schaal makes NFL quarterback money every year. And you see her and you're like, oh, she's such a good stand-up. I hope she makes it one day. No, she's made it. She's made it. Kristen Schaal. And she deserves it because she's super talented. Born on this day in 1978. You guys ever watch that show? She was the co-star on Last Man on Earth or Last Man in the World. Whoever the guy was, Will Forte. You know Will Forte? He had this television series. And I don't know... someday I'll just do a list of these things. But it wasn't a hit. And yet it ran for like 4 or 5 seasons on Fox. And it was because everybody at Fox, to their credit, was like, this is a really great show that nobody's watching. And it was. It featured an all-star cast of people. Jason Sudeikis. Okay, I'm out. That's all. January Jones. But mostly it was about Will Forte being the last human being on Earth. It's a sitcom. The whole world was dead. Everybody was gone. And it was just Will Forte. And he was loving it until he found the last woman on Earth. And it was Kristen Schaal. And he was very excited. And he's like, oh, this is great. I'm a man. She's a woman. We're the last people on Earth. We're going to repopulate. Look at this. I'm so happy to have met you. And then another woman shows up, January Jones. That's right. Betty Draper from Mad Men show up, and all of a sudden, Will Forte's character is like, yeah, I don't want to repopulate with her anymore. I want to repopulate with her. That's a great show. I think it's called Last Man on Earth. Last Man on Earth. Not to be confused with like Last Man Standing, which is like a really run-of-the-mill Tim Allen sitcom. I mean, by what I mean run-of-the-mill, I mean it's, formulaic and it's network. This thing, Last Man on Earth, is hysterically crazy. And by the way, it's also fun because Will Forte does a whole bunch of things that you and I would love to do if we were the last person on Earth. Things like racing cars through malls, fun stuff, crazy stuff. Anyway, born on this day in 1978, Kristen Schaal. She's worth your time if you don't know who she is, but I'm betting you probably do. Born on this day in 1981, another actress who is at the top of my hot chart. By hot, I don't mean hot. I just mean like, man, I'll watch anything she does. Do you guys know who Carrie Coon is? Carrie Coon, man. She is terrific. She's in that... She's the star of that HBO Max series, the something age, the glitter age, what was that called? Like the F. Scott Fitzgerald kind of vibey thing. Forgot what it's called. She also did a season on Fargo where she was amazing. That's where I first noticed her. I'm like, who is that actress? And they're like, Carrie Coons. I'm like, whoa. Turns out she's like a big Broadway star. Like she's racking up Tonys every year. So that's why we don't really see her in movies and stuff. But when we do, Carrie Coons, unforgettable. She is great. Let's see what she looks like. You know what she kind of looks like to me? She looks like Kristen Wiig to me. That's kind of who she reminds me of. Let's let me maybe just so you guys know who I'm talking about. Just because I feel like okay, not Carrie Coons, Carrie Coon. Keep saying Carrie Coons. There she is. All right, this is her. Maybe you've seen her and stuff. She's like a total Meryl Streep level type actress. Look at her. There she is. She's fantastic. She's like a Broadway chick. Let's see. There she is. There she is. Show me her from Fargo. I don't know if you get out of here, malware. Carrie Coons. She's good. See what I mean? She's not, this isn't like, oh, she's hot. No, she's talented. That's why I like her. She's a cool ass actress. Carrie Coon. Get to know Carrie Coon. Born on this day, year of our Lord, 1981. Born on this day in 1984, Justin Baldoni. Baldani? I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. I've never heard of him until recently, but he's celebrating a birthday today. 1984, Justin Baldoni, American actor, director, producer. Here's why we've heard here's why I know who he is. He's in a war with Blake Lively over some Netflix movie that he directed her in, and she claims that he sexually harassed her. And he's like, no, I didn't. And then apparently he went and got his troops together and they started a misinformation campaign targeting Blake Lively. This is what Blake Lively claims. He's like, I was just defending myself from her sexual harassment charges. And then it became like Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds and the entirety of Hollywood against this dude, who I guess he was on like a CW show. Like, this is the we're talking about a woman married to Ryan Reynolds and a dude who was once on a show on the CW. That's a Hollywood war that is going on. That's how I know Justin Baldoni's name. Oh, Justin Baldoni also apparently did a podcast that was really popular, and he wrote a bunch of books on toxic masculinity and how it's dangerous and all that stuff. So what I find most interesting about this story is that this Justin Baldoni guy is actually, up until the moment he was accused by Blake Lively of being a sexual harasser, right up until that moment, he was like, he was the ally. He was like, I just wish all sexy hot men on the CW could be like you, Justin Baldoni, right? He was that guy. And then she was like, no, he's a harasser. And he's like, but I'm not. I believe in inclusion. But, he's like, he doesn't know which way to go. I don't know what's true. Here's what I do believe, though, is true. Like, again, I don't know what's true about the details. I don't know that he sexually harassed her. I do know that the actual specific charges of his sexual harassment, it ain't, again, there are categories of sexual harassment. Sexual harassment, first, red zone sexual harassment is touch it and they'll pay you more money, right? That's red zone, obvious sexual harassment. But then there's like other sexual harassment, like having a conversation with people at work about your date last night, right? They go, oh yeah, man, I took her home. I thought I was going to get laid, but I didn't get laid. Someone overhearing that now could be like, I feel sexually harassed. And, that's the shit that I'm done with. No, you're not. You just don't like the way other humans communicate. I'm not sexually harassed. Anyway. So that's kind of like what he was accused of. He was accused of looking at porn on his phone when other people were around, which is so weird. That is, you might think that's nothing, like, oh, that's a nothing charge. And I think it is, like, in the scheme of, what is criminal, what is actionable, that kind. It is. It's a nothing charge in the scheme of that. But it tells me a shit ton about you. It tells me that I have never looked at porn on my phone. It's first of all, it's too small. What is the point? When am I I don't understand. In my car? Like, the phone? Are you kidding? So I've never understood that. So the fact that he's charged with that's sus in other ways, but I don't know about how actionable. Anyway, it's a mess. I don't know who to believe, but I do believe this. I bet you Blake Lively is an incredibly difficult woman to be around right now in Hollywood. Why do I think this? Because Blake Lively is married to Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds is both beloved by everyone. Everybody loves Ryan Reynolds, even me. Everybody loves Ryan Reynolds. He's beloved, and he's super powerful. Like, Blake Lively is married to an A-list superstar Hollywood titan of the moment. That's who she's married to. She's Blake Lively. She's Blake Lively. She was on a CW show once. She's pretty. I can't really tell the difference between her and a bunch of other women of them. Like, honestly, I'm trying to conjure up Blake Lively, And I'm not entirely certain that I'm not thinking of like somebody, I don't know. She's hot. She's disposable, dime a dozen, Hollywood hot. Her husband's extremely important. So what I mean by that is I think that there is probably, I don't know that Rita Wilson ever did this. She might have. Rita Wilson, of course, the anonymous wife of Tom Hanks. But I think Blake Lively likes to pretend like she's Ryan Reynolds. I think there are moments where Blake Lively realizes that, all I got to do is complain to my husband and your career is over. I think she has those moments. She seems like the type of woman that would. Just saying. Anyway, Justin Baldoni. He's having a birthday today. He might be a bad guy. I don't know. I'd suggest you look into it. Born on this day in 1984. Born on this day in 1986. This is crazy. This dude was born in 1986, and he's closing in on Papa Bear Hallis's wins record already. I'm kidding. Sean McVay. Happy birthday, Sean McVay. Sean McVay caught some strays at the Chicago Bears Ben Johnson press conference. I'll tell you about that later. We're going to talk about the whole coaching thing. But Sean McVay is the head coach of the Los Angeles Rams. It feels like he's been there for absolute ever. And he's still like, somebody who probably gets carded for beer. Born on this day in 86. Sean McVay was the youngest head coach in the NFL at the time that he was hired. I believe he was the youngest of all time. That's probably not true. I'm sure that the Canton Bulldogs had a 17-year-old coach in 1914. Something like that probably went on. But Sean McVay was absurdly young when the Los Angeles Rams went, okay, you be in charge. 29, was he even 30? I'm not entirely sure. He was 30, Sean McVay, and he's been there forever. Got a Super Bowl. But here's the thing about Sean McVay. And I don't know if a lot of people know this, but he's a Nepo baby. He's another one of these Nepo babies. And during Ben Johnson's introductory press conference in Chicago with the Bears, he was asked about his path and how he seems to have done every single job in football in a very quick period of time. And they said, how did you do that? And Ben Johnson, very proudly, he's a working class guy. He very proudly said, because I had to do every job better than everybody else in order to get the next job so that I could do that better than everybody else so that I could be the best. And then he went on to say, and this is where Sean McVay, our birthday boy, caught some strays. He goes on to say, I didn't have any famous family. I didn't have any of those connections, which was like, ooh. Ben Johnson throwing strays out there to Sean McVay and probably Kyle Shanahan. Maybe even Bobby Slowick, who's being talked about today. Those are all Nepo babies in the NFL. Those are a Schottenheimer for sure. Ben Johnson's like, I ain't one of these guys. Okay, I didn't have daddy talking to my bosses, going, let him give him that opening next year. So anyway, I thought that was funny that Sean McVay caught some strays. Sean McVay is of course a second generation his grandfather, right? John McVay. Los Angeles Rams, legendary. I don't. Where was it? Whatever. We know Schottenheimer, Brian Schottenheimer. Bobby Slowick. Do we know Bob Slowick? Bob Slowick's his dad, and of course Kyle Shanahan. Anyway, these Nepo babies in the NFL caught some strays from a very defiant, bitter, and Ben Johnson chip on his shoulder, which I liked. I liked that he was like, "Fuck them guys." Sean McVay, born on this day in 1986. All right, that's going to do it for birthdays. Let's go into deads. These are people who passed away on this day. We're going to decide based on what we know of their life, whether they went to heaven or to hell. Dead on this day, preemptively in hell. We already talked about them. No reason to spend another moment discussing the demise of Caligula, Roman Empire. He was born in 12. Serious Caligula. He died in 41. He was born in 12. Dead on this day in 1965, Winston Churchill. Yeah, that one. There's a whole bunch of Winston Churchills in British history. Like he had fathers. It was Winston Randolph Lord Bartholomew Churchill. There's a whole bunch of them. This is the one. This is the one, though. The real one. Winston Churchill. Dead on this day in 1965, English statesman, soldier, and writer, Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Nobel Prize laureate, and he did it all wasted drunk. He was drunk by noon every day, and he saved the world. I don't want to go off on a rant here, folks, channeling 1990s Dennis Miller, but I'm a Churchill fan. You can have your opinions on whatever you think. We hear about right man at the right moment for the right time. That was Winston Churchill, boy. He was willing to lose the entirety of his nation. He never flinched. Churchill never flinched. The Nazi war machine was chewing up his people, and Churchill never flinched. On the beaches, in the air, by sea, we will fight them back. We will fight that. Oh, my God, Churchill. He was so cool. He's in heaven. I'm putting him in heaven. Let's see here. Dead on this day in 1975, another guy I'm going to put in heaven. Just because, why not? Larry Fine. Larry from the Stooges. He was the one that wasn't a brother. They were all brothers. All the three Stooges were brothers, even Champ, except for Larry. Dr. Howard, Dr. Fine, Dr. Howard. Dr. Howard, Dr. Fine, Dr. Howard. Remember that one? The hospital sketch? Mo, Larry, and Curly. That's my prime Stooges, Mo, Larry, and Curly. Dr. Howard, Dr. Prime, Dr. Howard, Dr. Fine, Dr. Howard, Dr. Howard, Dr. Fine, Dr. Howard, over the loudspeaker in the hotel, and they're all running around. Whoop, 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 whoop. They're like running up and down. Oh, my God. Larry Fine, putting him in heaven. Let's see here. Dead on this day in 1983, George Cukor. George Cukor was a film director. George Cukor is a film director that, whenever people talk about, the real important ones, the cornerstone directors, Cukor, you hear Hitchcock, you hear who's the dude that did It's a Wonderful Life? You hear Capra, you hear John Ford. You hear these guys, and I guess in some circles you hear Cukor. I just think you ought to hear George Cukor's name more. This dude, I'm going to cherry pick. The guy did like hundreds of movies. I'm going to just give you some of the names of some of like the classic Hollywood films that George Cukor directed. Okay, Dinner at 8, Little Women, David Copperfield, Romeo and Juliet, The Philadelphia Story. God, I love that movie. It's one of my all-time favorite movies, The Philadelphia Story. Let's see here. He did all of the all the Tracy Hepburn films. He did all the Cary Grant Hepburn film. He did Gaslight, the film that coined the phrase that we all use now. I think I used it earlier. Gaslight. These are the films of George Cukor. Adam's Rib. That's another one of those Hepburn movies. I know, I like old movies. He did Born Yesterday. Come on, man. He did A Star Is Born. Well, one of the versions, anyway. He did the original one, the old-timey version of A Star Is Born. He did, what else did? My Fair Lady. Ever heard of it? God, these are all like super big movies. All right. Anything he did that was uncredited? Yeah, there's a whole bunch. Oh, my God, he did like hundreds of things. Anyway, George Cukor. I'm putting him in heaven because he made a lot of really good movies. George Cukor. He died on this day, 1983. I'm putting him in heaven. Dead on this day in 1986, L. Ron Hubbard. Get out of here, crazy Scientology weirdo. Get out of here. Go straight to hell. Manipulating stupid people for your own. He's the worst. L. Ron Hubbard, founder of Scientology. Dead on this day in 1986, and I don't care. Dead on this day in 1993, Thurgood Marshall. Thurgood. And I spent like most of my life, whenever this name would come up and I tried to pronounce it, saying it was Thurgood Marshall. Then I watched the movie Thurgood. He's going to heaven. Thurgood Marshall was a great man, an honorable man, a decent man, a kind man, a smart man. Thurgood Marshall, American lawyer, jurist, 32nd United States Solicitor General, Supreme Court, all that good stuff. All right, there you have it. Let's see here. That's going to wrap it up. The first three quarters. I want to remind you folks that this show runs on your gratuities. This show runs because, I do it as love of the game. I can't get a job doing talk radio in this country. Apparently, they don't like my content. Apparently my content doesn't fit the genre of talk radio in 2025. Well, I decided screw that 3 years ago, started doing this show every day on my own. Talk radio between people just talking. We don't have advertisers. We don't do commercials. We don't have anything. We got no rich guy who's like, here, I want you to keep doing it every month. So all we do is we ask you for tips. I say, treat me like a bartender. If you come out and you hang out every day, Monday through Friday, round about noon, drop a little something every week if you can. To that end, the person who tips the most during the show gets to be whom I describe as the executive producer of the day. So if you're the biggest tipper today, then on Monday, you will be the executive producer on Monday. Yesterday, we got a tip. We've got a very special executive producer today. I would like to thank our old friend Cam. Cam is today's executive producer. We don't go into details, but thank you, Cam. Bro. Seriously, man. Thank you so much. I mean, you people have no idea. I always say this. We push at a certain time of the month where it's like, but that's not like money that I get to have in my pocket on like a weekend when my kid's coming, you know? That's money that we, at the end of the month push, we put into bills. So when I get a tip like Cam, man, oh man, thank you, buddy. That you really do. You help me to continue to do this show when stuff like that happens. Thank you, Cam. There you go. Cam is today's executive producer. So if you don't like the show, you can blame him. You can blame him. If you want to be Monday's executive producer, you want to drop a little something, all you got to do is hit me up on either Venmo or Cash App. Let me get that up for you. Here you are. If you're so inclined, help out. And that'll be all we're going to talk about. Right? We don't do it. I don't shake my cup all show. I don't do that. I wish I could, but I just don't have it in me because I like to sleep at night, and that would preclude that from happening. All right, let's talk. I told you we're going to run through a couple of headlines, right? And then I want to get into some things that I just want to talk about today. Wildfires are still going crazy. We got wildfire problems in California. A brand new fire broke out last night. Yeah, I know. Every single night, new fires are breaking out. Hold on, let me show you what we got here. Let's look at the big fires. Like to look at the map. All right, here we go. Let's see. What's the new fire? The heat now, and I'm not talking, you guys. I'm not talking about the Hughes fire. The Hughes fire is the new fire from 2 nights ago. We got a whole new fire, and I think it was like. All right, let's see. You know what? I would know way more about the fires. Let me be honest. Let me tell you guys something. I would know way more about what is currently happening with the fires other than, hey, something kind of important is happening with the fires. Like, that's where I'm at, my level of expertise. I would have better information if I didn't discover Grok. Seriously, I've realized that the last couple of nights, the time when I'm usually watching fire coverage from LA, I'm now playing on Grok, trying to make Grok my accomplice in any number of illegal activities. Grok is the AI feature on Twitter that I can't get enough of improving with. It's fun. All right, let's go. All right, so let me see what we're dealing with. Where's the new fires? Here's the good news. Supposed to get some rain this weekend. They're all very excited. They're like, come on, rain. All right. Let me see here. Torrance, where am I? I'm like in the wrong. Here we go to save the day. There's the Palisades fire. Where's the Eaton fire? Hold on. Where's Eaton? Eaton's up this way, isn't it? There. Okay. There we go. I'm just in close. All right. So here we go. Here's the Eaton fire. Boom. We've known about that. The Eaton fire is what's been wreaking havoc in Altadena and Pasadena. A lot of loss of property in the Eaton fire. It's one of the big ones. Palisades fire. That's the one that wiped out the village of Pacific Palisades. That is still going strong. The Hughes fire was back this way. Here we go. This was the one that broke out 2 nights ago. This one is on the hillside. You can see, well, I mean, this down here where it looks like there's people and stuff, that's the valley floor. These are all mountains. It's almost like a bowl, like a cereal bowl. The rim of the cereal bowl is on fire, and they're worried about the Hughes fire as it makes its way down into the populated area. This over here, this is quite scary. This is the new one, the Laguna fire. Why am I doing an applause thing? The Laguna fire is scary because of its location, because of people live in this area. So let's see, what is the latest on the Laguna fire? This really sparked up yesterday. Here's what it says. All right, here's the latest on the Laguna fire. Okay, pop-ups, I get it. You got to sell your stuff. The Ventura Fire County, just north of Los Angeles. The Ventura County fire, just north of Los Angeles, was initially estimated to be 3 acres, but has since burned 50 before crews managed to stop forward progress, but winds continue to threaten the area. It's a new brush fire, started just north of Los Angeles. This in the Laguna area. According to the Ventura County Star, part of the USA Today network. Oh, stop it. No, I'm done. We're out. Forget about it. Fires are still going. We don't live in California. God bless you if you do. The Laguna fire is one to watch, is my point. Okay, let's keep going. What else do we have happening in the world today? Let's see. Cold. Yeah, it's cold. It's cold in places. It's not usually cold. I got nothing else. It's not cold here. DFW, North Texas. I mean, it's a little cold, but it's like, I don't know, January. So it's supposed to be kind of cold. What are we looking at here? My friends in Chicago are going to hate me for this because I believe it's extremely cold. It is 58 degrees. 58 degrees. I woke up this morning to take the dog out, and there was ice on my walkway. And then took the dog out, put the show together. 3 hours later, came back out to my car to drive in here to the studio. Ice is completely gone. That's winter in Texas. So it's cold. It's cold. There's a big storm in Ireland. I think it's happening right now. It's supposed to like make landfall. There's like this. I don't know. This is not news to anybody, other than there are people that I follow on Twitter and on social media who are in Ireland. I like to, local news people and all that, and they are freaking out, man. This is like the worst storm Ireland has. They're saying it's the worst storm in history. This is the worst storm that I don't know how long. Like the Irish have been tracking storms. Like they may have just started a couple of years ago, but whatever, it's like hurricane. Oh my God, there's going to be sheep flying everywhere. It is going to be a mess. Buckle up there, folks. By the way, I'm like my first thought is like, okay, so where this Irish storm is going to hit, it's going to hit the Ring of Kerry, which is a place that I absolutely love in Ireland. It's beautiful. It is the ocean, is the southwestern coast of Ireland. It is all cliffs. There are rock islands and formations just offshore. It's beautiful. It is the most beautiful place I have ever been in my life. It's like heaven. Driving it was unbelievable. And dotted along this thing are a whole bunch of like super old little castles and little fortified forts on the hillsides. And they're all in various forms of disrepair. And well, disrepair, that makes it sound like it was built in the 80s and nobody, no, I mean like the Roman Colosseum, you know what I mean? These things are relics. Are these things, I'm watching where the storm is going to hit, and I'm like, are these things going to destroy these castles and these fortifications, and how much damage are they going to do? Because it might just be like, kind of looks the same. And the reason I'm concerned is because they say this is a storm that has never been like any storm that has ever hit Ireland. And I'm like, okay, so these castles are 400, 500, 600 years old. They've seen a lot of storms that would make you think they can handle it, but I don't know. Yes. Okay. So I'm worried about the old castles on the Ring of Kerry. All right, let's go. Keep moving here. Spirit Airlines. Oh, here's a story. This is an interesting story. Spirit Airlines is now taking it upon themselves to judge whether or not you're a pig. Spirit Airlines has a whole bunch. Does Spirit Airlines, are they in any position Spirit Airlines, the Greyhound bus of the sky. Spirit Airlines making demands of its passengers. The great unwashed. You and me, Joe Public. Offensive tattoos and see-through clothing will now get you kicked off your next Spirit Airlines flight. Well, okay. First of all, Spirit's a discount airline. So you would think that sketchy people with sketchy funds might be looking for the cheapest rate. So maybe the average client of a Spirit Airlines flight is somebody who may have some tattoos that are questionable and maybe some slutty behaviors as far as their fashion sense goes. So let's go into this. I think this is funny. I think this is another example of, remember when I told you after the election, I said, okay, things are going to be different now. People aren't afraid. Like, this seems like one of those situations that corporations like Spirit Airlines in the past might be afraid to pass judgment, lest they be, whatever. But now they're like, no, fuck that. You look like a whore, get off the plane. It's like they're comfortable doing that now, which I'm not altogether against. Get up, you look like a whore. Like, it's like Spirit Airlines is now going to be run by your aunt. So some mouthy woman. Get up, darling, really, what are you doing? Get off the plane, you look like a tramp. I don't want you on this plane. What is that? A swastika on your neck? Get the fuck off the plane. You're just gonna cause trouble. Even if you promise you're gonna sit there, you might cause a reaction from somebody. It's a fucking swastika, idiot. Passengers flying Spirit Airlines might need to conceal some tattoos or put on more clothing for their next flight. This, according to the airline's updated contract for travelers. As of January 22nd, Spirit Airlines has updated its contract declaring passengers shall not be permitted to board or may be required to leave an aircraft if they are barefoot or inadequately clothed. Okay, time out. Time the out. Are you telling me that if I show up for a Spirit Airlines flight barefoot, there's a chance you'll let me fly? What? They're like, look, if you don't have shoes, it's going to be a case-by-case basis. What? Let me read that to you again. As of January 22nd, Spirit has updated its contract of carriage, declaring passengers, here's a quote now, passengers shall not be permitted to board or they may be required to leave an aircraft if they are, quote, barefoot or inadequately clothed. They may not be permitted to board, but they might be, maybe. If, the nice manicured toes. First of all, you always wear shoes on an airplane. And don't wear rubber shoes. Oh my God, don't wear gym shoes on an airplane. I always wear dress shoes. I do. I know that's fine. Or some sort of like boot or something. And I know it's like Pugs, but you got to take your shoes off. I'm like, oh, yeah, I see a lot of you dudes wearing slip-ons. No. I saw a thing back in the 90s about what happens when a plane crashes. And it showed how, like, don't wear nylon clothes. Ladies, don't wear nylons. I don't think they wear nylons anymore. Because rubber shoes and all that stuff in the first gas explosion of fire, you might survive, but it's going to melt all of your clothes to you. So, you want to use cotton. You want to fly in cotton, I guess, because it's at least an organic material. And then they showed someone's foot, their shoes. They were wearing gym shoes and their shoes melted to their feet. They survived, but they're like, ow, it was horrible. Anyway, I always wear, specific shoes. I don't know. I don't wear gym shoes. The shoes that I'm actually wearing in place might be even worse. I don't know, but I'm just like, they say don't wear gym shoes on an airplane. And don't wear like breakdance pants. Breakdance pants are also bad. Those things will vaporize into your legs and body. Could you imagine? Could you imagine you're breaking pants? You're in a plane crash, and the wave of fire, the fuel fire, it'll just be like a second. Like they say, it's just a flash fire, but it will fuck you up. You can probably survive it, but the flash fire will melt certain kinds of clothes to your body instantly. So, can't wear my breakdancing clothes when I fly. That's the takeaway. If you people take nothing away from this show, don't fly cosplaying as a breakdancer from 1986. It'll be dangerous. What else do we have here? Oh, Spirit Airlines. We're still, let's see what else they're getting into at Spirit Airlines, shall we? It also describes, this is the new contract agreement between Spirit Airlines and We the People. It also describes inadequately clothed as see-through clothing, not adequately covered, exposed breasts, buttocks, or other private parts. Fashion choices have long been a problem for air travelers, as many have been singled out and denied boarding, and in some cases gone viral for their situations. Spirit preview. Look, here's the thing. Can I tell you why we have a problem with women on airplanes? And Spirit Airlines probably has a real problem with this. Can we talk for real? All right. So a whole lot of women that you'll be flying with, probably on Spirit, and it'll make sense once I explain the whole context of this theory. A whole bunch of the women that you will be flying with, especially women who are flying alone, they're being flown somewhere by a dude for sex, okay? It's just a thing, okay? It happens. Rich guys in LA fly hot chicks from New York, and it's just a thing, all right? Here's what happens, though. These women are going to get picked up at the airport by the guy. So these women have to fly dressed like bam, you know what I mean? Because they can't get off the plane in sweatpants and all that, and the dude just paid to fly them out to LA for a weekend. No. So they're flying around like sluts. You've seen it. Stop it. You've seen these girls on these planes, high heels, stripper heels, and one giant yoga pant. It's crazy. Sports bra, teased hair. Where are you going, baby? You are trying to look good for the man who is picking you up. So that's probably what Spirit. And Spirit is discount. So I'm guessing a lot of dudes flying chicks in, they're cheating on their wives. So they don't want the price of the plane ticket to be something that the wife is going to be like, what was this? What was this $300? No, but they'll see a Spirit airline charge for like $49 and they won't even look twice at it. I'm telling you, that's what's going on. That's the problem that airlines have. Why women? That's the reason women dress slutty on airplanes, because they're being picked up by men who just bought the ticket. Thank you, folks. I'll be here all week. All right, let's see here. What else is Spirit complaining about? Nope, they're just now going to give us a whole bunch of examples of problems that they had on the plane. I can imagine the problems. I can imagine the class of person that flies Spirit. All right, let's do this one now. I need a drink for this. We're going to spend some time on this next story, and I hope you decide that you're going to take this walk with me, because it's going to require you people to believe, okay? To believe. Oh my God, what I did there. It's going to require you to believe. That's good. Once you know what I'm talking about, you're going to be like, oh, I see what he did. You're going to be like retroactively impressed with that joke. Oh, but wait, I guess that's what the Buffalo Bills also call, right? Don't the Buffalo Bills, isn't that their slogan? Believe. All right, I wasn't stealing that from the Bills. It's not about those Bills. This is about a couple of other Bills. This is the most mind-blowing story of the year for me for 2025. It's not news. It's trending and people are talking about it. I might even have it all wrong. Like, this might be a bit. This might be a lot. But see, here's the problem. One of the people involved in this would not be involved in something like this. They just wouldn't. The other one would. The other one. And the third one, I don't know. But one of the people involved in what I'm about to tell you about, I would be shocked to learn that they would participate in something so fraudulent. Like something, let's say this happened and it'll go viral. The other two people involved, I'm like, yeah, maybe. But one of the people involved, I'd be like, no, they'd be like, that's stupid. I'm not doing that. right? Okay, so now let me tell you this story, because it's got me just completely freaking out here. Are you with me? Are you ready? Buckle up. Here we go. Bill Burr and Billy Corrigan are brothers. Go ahead, try to go to Google right now and put Bill Burr's name in there and see what pops up next. Billy Corrigan's going to pop up next. Bill Burr, comedian, and Billy Corrigan, lead singer, mastermind behind the Smashing Pumpkins. I got respect for the Pumpkins, but not the amount of respect that other people do, because I remember when the Pumpkins weren't the Pumpkins. I remember when they were the Pumpkins, not the Smashing Pumpkins, right? I remember when they were just another band in the scene. So, you know, spare me their genius, right? I've seen them suck, right? I've seen Billy Corrigan and Bill Burr very well may be brothers. Are you stunned like I am? I am absolutely stunned. One comes from the suburbs of Chicago. The other comes from the suburbs of Boston. I mean, the only thing really, when you see them side by side, you're like, okay, there is a resemblance. But I don't know if there's a resemblance because I'm putting too much weight on the fact that they both have shaved heads. So that when you see them, I don't know. One of them is a little bit more darkly complected. Bill Burr is far more Irish and translucent, although Billy Corrigan's got the Irish last name too. He just seems a little darker. I don't know. Now, where did I come up with this? Where are you? You're probably like, Pugs, what the hell are you talking about? How can Bill Burr and Billy Corrigan, how can they be brothers? How can they both be so famous for as long as they've been famous, and we didn't know that they were brothers? Okay, so they are both named Bill, which is weird because their father was just dropping bills everywhere. All right, let me get to the story. So back in November, Howie Mandel, of all people, Howie Mandel has a podcast. And back in November, Billy Corrigan was a guest on the podcast. And again, guys, this is the last time I'm going to say time out on this story. This might all be a play. I am working off the information that Billy Corrigan was on Howie Mandel's podcast in November and did something. That's what they're saying now happened. Well, back when Billy was on in November. I don't know that Billy was on in November and that this happened. I don't know. This all could be a part of this is the problem with the internet. I don't know what to believe anymore. All right, so let's just go with that being real. So Billy Corrigan is on Howie Mandel's podcast back in November, and he tells a story about his stepmother, Billy Corrigan's stepmother, saying to him, Billy Corrigan, about 10 years ago, Billy Corrigan said, yeah, my stepmom asked me, she said, hey, do you know Bill Burr? Have you ever heard of the comedian Bill Burr? And Billy Corrigan responded, yeah, I know Bill Burr. And Billy Corrigan said on the Howie Mandel podcast that at that point, his stepmother said, yeah, I think he's one of your dad's sons. Okay. So Billy Corrigan's father was a musician who traveled all around the country. And it turned out that Billy Corrigan's father, the father who Billy Corrigan was, apparently had other kids, like secret kids. Okay. It also turns out that Bill Burr's father, who Bill Burr knew as a guy was a dentist, Bill Burr's father said he was a dentist. Bill Burr also knew that his father was a musician who played all and used to travel and had to give up on play. So anyway, back to the story. Back in November, Billy Corrigan goes on the Howie Mandel podcast and apparently tells that story. Fast forward to a couple of days ago. Howie Mandel books Bill Burr to be on the Howie Mandel podcast. Bill Burr comes in, sits down. I played a clip, one little clip from yesterday. And remember, I think I showed you he was ripping on Billy Corrigan for the Cubs thing. Okay, that was just a little clip that I wanted to play because I wasn't ready to go into the story. I wanted to do it yesterday, but I couldn't. But I just used that little clip. So here's the context around the clip that I showed yesterday. Bill Burr is a guest on Howie Mandel's podcast. Howie Mandel ambushes Bill Burr with Howie Mandel or with Billy Corrigan. Billy Corrigan comes and sits down, and Howie Mandel's like, it's your brother. I'm going to let you watch what happened. This is what I say. This could all be a bit. But I knew Bill Burr a little bit. I mean, back in the day, I knew Bill. I do not know the Bill Burr of 2025. He's a megastar. But back before he was a megastar, when he was Bill Burr, the guy from the Chappelle Show and the guy that was doing stand-up comedy, I knew Bill. Hung out with Bill a little bit whenever he was in town. He was one of those guys, one of the New York dudes. So I like Bill. Bill would not do this. There's nothing. He won't. He doesn't do bits. You know, Bill's not like, yeah, man, it'll be wacky. With that said, if Bill Burr did participate in this thing, here's what we know about Bill Burr. He's a tremendous actor. Bill Burr does have the acting chops to be able to pull this. So I don't know. So let's watch this, okay? This is mind-blowing to me if this is real. All right, first of all, let me give you the story. Let me give you a quick little story about the background on this. I'll read it. This is how it's being reported. This is USA Today. Bill Burr, Billy Corrigan address whether they are in fact half brothers. First of all, the pictures are crazy. Bill Burr's latest podcast appearance turned into an unexpected alleged family reunion when the comedian 56 was a guest on Tuesday's episode of the Howie Mandel Does Stuff podcast. A surprise special guest entered. Smashing Pumpkins guitarist Billy guitarist? He's more than just a what? Anyway, Smashing Pumpkins guitarist Billy Corrigan, who previously theorized that he and Burr may be in fact half brothers. Corrigan revealed on the Howie Mandel Does Stuff in November that about 10 years ago, his stepmom told him that she believes Burr might be one of the children that your father sired in his days of being a musician. All right, so there you go. That's the background. You guys want to watch this? You want to watch how this played out? So what I'm going to show you is the Bill Burr appearance on Howie Mandel's podcast from yesterday. And then this is the ambush where Billy Corrigan is introduced. I've given you the backstory so you know what's going on here. Here's a quick little Bill Burr does not seem to want to talk about it, and he's kind of pissed at Billy for having brought it up in November. Again, I'm like, man, if this was a sketch that they wrote out, that would kind of be how you'd play it. But Bill Burr is so authentic. It's like, is he really mad? Is he cool about this? Is this something that bothers him? It seems like it bothers Bill Burr. It seems like Billy Corrigan went on the podcast and made public something that Billy Corrigan and Bill Burr have both probably known for a while. And Bill Burr didn't want it out there. All right, let's watch this. Here we go. This is crazy. All right.
What's up?
Sit down.
You're an asshole.
Billy Corrigan. Billy Corrigan.
Yeah.
I'm an asshole?
Yeah,
I thought this would be great to bring a family together.
He didn't tell you. He told me you were totally cool with me coming.
That's what he does. That's what he does.
I thought it would be
so
a
then,
good
like,
surprise.
can this be like edited out, or no?
I can go. I mean, you told me Bill was.
All right, fuck it. No, I'll do it. Like, did you ever think the fact that I never told that story, that, you know, maybe you shouldn't? Did you ever?
All right, this is very important because this is the first thing that Bill Burr says. All right, because now you have the context, because I told you Billy Corrigan went on this podcast a month or two ago and told a story. Bill Burr is now turning to him going, did you ever think that maybe because I hadn't told that maybe you shouldn't tell that story? So I'm trying to figure out if Bill Burr is being authentic here. I believe him that he is. But man, he is a good actor.
But you know me fucking like, no, I'll do it. Like, did you ever think the fact that I never told that story, that, you know, maybe you shouldn't? Did you ever, you know me fucking like emails and crap that I got? Like, I sort of like went away from that.
So let me just fill in. Let me just fill in.
Do we talk on a regular basis?
We've never met.
So Billy Corrigan was nice enough on my podcast to talk about the fact that he told a story that he had never told before. that his father traveled?
My stepmother said to me, do you know who Bill Burr is? Bill Burr might be one of the children that your father sired in his days on being a traveling musician.
If you do the math,
He was a piece of shit.
with
And he had two kids this close together, and he named them the same fucking name.
Good
He thinks
point.
it's different because he's Billy and I'm Bill. Like, that's how he told the difference.
That seems like a very real response. Bill Burr's never taught. Bill Burr has used his father in his comedy, but he's always been loving. And he depicts his father as an over-the-top screamer and all that. I mean, he did a whole animated series on Netflix about it. This moment right here, it could be a bit because Bill Burr is such a good actor. But this isn't, if it is a bit, this is another example of how tremendous Bill Burr is, because he is absolutely believable in this moment, talking about what a piece of shit his father was for doing what is now being talked about. And he doesn't seem like he wants to talk about it, but it looks like he's like, okay, yeah, I'll admit it. He's a fucking piece of shit.
math,
He was a piece of shit.
with
And he had two kids this close together, and he named them the same fucking name.
Good
He thinks
point.
it's different because he's Billy and I'm Bill. Like, that's how he told the difference.
Well, I was Bill when I was young. But you're right. I mean, with all respect.
I just thought.
All right,
I
well,
don't-
whatever. You know, it's
I just
it's
thought-
it's not that I don't like him. It reminds me of all of that shit. So, you know, it's
It,
like,
it just
I don't-
seems more
I-
of the same from what I've been hearing.
All right, whatever. I mean, I like your music.
Appreciate that.
Okay, great.
Would you? Oh, you know, what'd be cool if you let your brother play drums.
Well, the fact that he said he can't sing, I think that sort of disproves that we're related.
Come on.
Because I'm not funny, right? You know what I mean? So it goes both ways.
Listen, you've done well for yourself. I'm happy for you. You know, but I just would prefer if you just kind of didn't
Fuck
go
off.
around. No, not telling these fucking stories. Like, why did you feel the need to do that?
Okay, can I give you the setup on all this? Because it's his fault.
You can do whatever you want because you kind
No,
of
I'm trying to
already
be
did that.
okay. I'm trying to be respectful.
Now
'cause-
you are.
Okay, no wait. He told me you were cool
You're a
with me.
Cubs fan? That fucking tracks.
Theo Epstein.
Fucking Wrigleyville. Bunch of cunts. Southside's where it's at. What's up?
See, it's just awkward enough to be really believable. And I'm sorry, Bill Burr, he's so believable in this one. He's really fucking kind of pissed. And he's trying to be cool about it. And he's trying to turn his fucking pissed into like humor. But he's really irritated right here in this moment. And I don't know. He's either as good an actor as I think he is, because I think Bill Burr is an amazing actor. Everything I've seen him in, I'm like, holy shit, he can act. He's obviously as good. I don't know, man.
Wrigley tracks.
Theo Epstein.
Fucking Wrigleyville. Bunch of cunts. Southside's where it's at. What's up?
Do you want me to tell the story?
Yes.
Okay. So, you know, he owns about 80 buildings in this area. I don't know if you know how rich he is. But anyway, so I was working in another building, his, and I came out the building, and the first thing he said to me was, "Here comes Bill Burr." And I said, "Do you know that story somehow?" And he said, "What story?" So I told him privately that story. And he said, "Oh, you got to say this on the air."
Yeah, but he always does that. Because that's the thing. He's bringing in here not because he's trying to heal the bullshit that we went through growing up. He's getting here just for the fucking ratings. I mean, the guy literally accepted a fucking award in the middle of a podcast. I'm supposed to be promoting my special, and he's over here like...
You can do it. March 14th on Hulu.
Like, that's going to help now?
I still love you, though. Even though you did
But
this.
it's not about
Okay,
me.
so now what
Love
was
love
supposed
your
to
bro-
happen? Are we going to go play catch? We're both in our 50s.
My arm is still good. I got to go. I got to say.
Do you like wrestling?
Like what kind of wrestling? the real shit or like the WWE? The WWE, I love that.
Okay. I own the NWA, which is the oldest wrestling organization in the world.
All right, that's I respect that.
He won't come.
I
He
don't-
won't come to a show, but at least you would.
Would you go to one of his events?
So what? An NW?
Event. Yes.
It's wrestling.
Oh, wrestling. Yeah, you know, this.
Come on. This is very awkward, man. This is just awkward enough to be absolutely believable. And if it is, a couple of you are like, it's a bit. Well, maybe, but it's a very believable bit because, you know, there is this thing about both of their fathers. They were musicians. I mean, it is not hard to believe that a musician could have fathered multiple families. I mean, come on, man. Remember Charles Osgood? Remember Charles Osgood, CBS News? He used to do that Sunday morning show on the road with Charles or whatever. I guess Charles Kuralt took it over. Or no, maybe it was Charles Kuralt. One of those dudes, they look very similar. One of those dudes, after he died, CBS, either Charles Kuralt or Charles Osgood, one of those dudes had multiple families, like across the country. He would just go out every week, report on some story from small town USA, and then apparently knock up with the hottest girl in town and have a secret family with her. It happens. It happens a lot. People have double families. People have secret families. People have kids placed all over the. I don't know. This is so juicy, though.
He's
I
busy.
don't know.
He's busy. He's busier than God. This guy.
No.
I can't even believe you got him in here. To set this up.
Do you want to?
And you set us both up.
I know. Does YouTube give you fucking awards for
Setups.
healing fathers who secretly have two families?
This is some Dr. Phil shit you got going on here.
Yeah, thank you.
I think that you guys should take a moment.
I think we're on the same page, thinking that you're kind of a dick right now.
See, that's
I think you're a dick,
unbelievable.
What do you have to do with this?
Yeah,
Why?
you didn't.
That is, if this was all true, that is exactly what these two people would come to the conclusion of. That, you know what, it's not you, I don't hate you, this is your thing too, we're both involved in this. He's the a-hole. He's the one who manufactured this entire situation. That's very believable.
I know he was going to do this, right? Whatever. But I don't have any, like, you know, at some point we will hang out. I don't think on a podcast to try to fucking.
This is where it starts.
Oh, you
Sonny,
smoke
play
too, huh?
something.
No, it's just, I don't want to talk about.
That also makes it seem believable when Bill Burr earnestly looks at him and says, at some point we will hang out. Why would he say that? Well, I mean, just aside from the fact that maybe he wants to hang out with the guy from Smashing Pumpkins. No, he is saying that. He is suggesting to us that Bill Burr actually believes that maybe there is something to this. And at some point, dude, you and I will hang out. But a podcast is not where that is so authentic a reaction. He is either a master actor or this is real.
Wait,
Because he's a germaphobe. But
Wait, you're sick?
I've gotten over being sick. Stop. This is just the remnants
Just
of a lifetime of screaming.
Yeah, that's what we have in common.
I thought this would go someplace. I thought this would go like.
I mean, if you'd see the barrage of texts I got this morning, you got to come in. Bill will love it. He's cool with it, and the whole thing.
All right, so then I'm not upset with you then, because I thought that this was like your idea.
No,
All
he
right.
he totally set me up.
I'm sorry. I just thought it was more important to bring family
You walk through
together.
the door. How's your wife? My wife's pregnant. How's your wife?
Yeah, he's
How
having
the
a baby.
kids?
You have your family's
some
growing,
free
Bill.
underwear,
She's
you know.
she's late.
That's funny.
Third semester.
That's fine.
Trimester.
Third semester.
Doesn't even give a shit. This is the thing that throughout my career, the amount of people like that have done this to me, and then you know what's funny? This is gonna probably maybe make us better or maybe fuck us up, but like I can guarantee you, about 20 minutes after we walk out of here, he's not gonna remember.
Remember what? Trimester.
He's gonna be standing there gazing with his arms behind his back, you know, looking at his YouTube plaque.
His
there you have it. I don't know. Whatever. All right, so I got a little more for you. There is more. Mandel and the other chick that's with him there on the show left the room. They said, all right, look, we're just going to leave the room. We're going to keep a recording. You don't even, we're just going to leave the room. You guys sit here. So what we have, and they put on some music. They put on some like really sad music. It's funny. So anyway, this is that. We'll watch that. This is Bill Burr and Billy Corrigan being set up by Howie Mandel. Call this Lone Time. But again, this goes on to, this is either going to make you absolutely believe this is a bit, or it's going to, as it did in my case, make me go, holy fuck, I have no idea. Again, This is either a master class in acting being put on by Bill Burr, not so much Billy Corgan. Although I will give Billy Corgan credit for being believable as somebody who's really confused as to why Bill is reacting that way. That was pretty believable. But here we go. We'll call this one Alone Time. Okay, the music is funny too. But in the podcast, like Howie Mandel's like, oh, hold on, we got to put this music. And so the music is set up by Howie Mandel.
What was your relationship with Dad?
It was difficult. It was difficult.
What did he tell you he did for a living?
He was a musician, traveling, kind of club musician. Never got above the clubs.
Well, he played piano, saxophone.
No, just guitar.
Well, in my house.
Oh, sorry.
Are you serious?
Oh.
He told me he couldn't play guitar because his fingers were too fat. All right. Well, yeah, it was fucking weird, but you know what's funny though is if we were born during the internet, like he wouldn't. I don't feel like you can get away with that anymore. Like at some point, it did become funny to me that he had multiple families. There was some.
All right. So again, right? Okay. So at this point, that's very important. Bill Burr is acknowledging that his father had multiple families. I don't believe I've ever heard Bill Burr talk about that before. It's not a part of any of his known comedy routines. Okay. So that would tell me that Bill Burr doesn't like to talk about this. It also tells me that this is probably real. Because if you have heard how Bill Burr speaks about his father, he loves his father. And he has great admiration for his father. So that's why I don't believe that Bill Burr would participate in a segment like this that paints his father like his dad's an asshole. Because that has never been the way Bill Burr allows his father to be presented. He allows his father to be presented as like Archie Bunker, right? As like, I'm crazy, mad, angry, funny, but always loving. Always loving. I mean, Bill Burr does these bits about his dad, and he makes it a point afterwards to be laughing and go, no, but seriously, I love my dad. My dad is my best friend. So why would Bill Burr participate in a bit? His father's dead now. Why would Bill Burr participate in a bit that makes this man that he's talked about so lovingly over the years in his comedy out to be an asshole who has two families? I'm telling you, man. I am telling you. I don't believe Bill Burr is the kind of person that would do that to the memory of his father. Participate in a bit that maligns his father. Because that's what he just admitted right here. He just admitted. He said, I don't know how you could get away with that today. Here we go.
It's fucking weird, but you know what's funny though is if we were born during the internet, like he wouldn't. I don't feel like you can get away with that anymore. Like at some point, it did become funny to me that he had multiple families.
Bill Burr admits that he knows his father had multiple families, and at some point it became funny to him. He's admitting it right here. Bill Burr is admitting that there is at least some truth to whatever this is. And again, I say I don't believe Bill Burr is the kind of person who would posthumously take a shit on his father's legacy for a Howie Mandel podcast bit. I'm sorry. It's just not. It's not something that sons do to their father's memory for a laugh.
There was something like wild about that, having to just trying to sustain one family. I'm kind of forgetting we're on a podcast right now. Trying to just sustain one family to actually. I mean, he must have been going, I got a gig on the road, but he's coming home with no fucking money because he's got to go out. Hey, well, at least we broke that cycle, huh?
Here we are.
Here we are. And at least we're not like on some fucking awful network show judging plate spinners or whatever the fuck Howie's career has become.
He's done well, though.
No, you can tell he's self-conscious because he pulled out an award right in the middle of this.
I saw that.
It kind of looked like he made it, too. All right. Like,
You know how I know this? It's another reason I think it's real. Because Billy is not an improv comedian, okay? Billy is not responding like anybody who's trained or who knows what they're going to say next. Billy, I think, feels a little awkward about this and is kind of like, I don't know. Bill is the entertainer. Bill Burr's guy's got to drive this whole thing. He knows there's a camera there. I'm telling you, I don't know, man. There's so much going on here. I don't know what to think anymore.
I don't know what else. You know what I do
Bill Burr and Billy Corgan are brothers until I hear different.
relate to you is you do seem shut. All right, like I don't know what else. You know what I do relate to you is you do seem shut down emotionally, which is
Well, it's all within.
which
you
is a
know?
huge relief. So you chose music and I went comedy.
Yeah, I think it's worked out better for you than for me.
I don't think so.
You don't
because
think so?
I thought your music, like you helped people. Where I sort of pointed the finger for quite some time.
Yes.
Or whatever. This is completely off subject, but I see that camera right there? I saw somebody restore an old camera. That's how I keep the demons.
Okay.
I death scroll on Instagram and
Do you collect old cameras? Because I do.
No, but I have an appreciation for them.
I have like 100 old cameras. Swear to God.
You do?
Yeah.
I like old
There's
shit.
the genetics again.
Now they're buying in. They've both to some extent bought in, and they're looking for things that are like, yeah, really? You said, do you like cameras? Yeah, I collect cameras. I have cameras. Do you like cameras? Yeah, they're okay. I like old things. Wow, look at us. they're okay. I collect them. I'm crazy about cameras. Do you like cameras? Yeah, they're fine. Well, look at us. We're obviously Twinkies.
The genetics and
Old cameras? Because I do.
No, but I have an appreciation for them.
I have like 100 old cameras. Swear to God.
You do?
Yeah.
I like old
There's
shit.
the genetics again.
There's the genetics, and I would imagine you have a bunch of older guitars.
See, when I came in here the first time, that's what he had on the wall.
Oh yeah.
He had already prepared that before I walked through the door.
Well, that was our.
Oh, okay. Let's go back. Let's look at that. Let's see. Hold on.
I have like 100 old cameras. Swear to God.
You do?
Yeah.
I like old
There's
shit.
the genetics
Let's
again.
see
There's the
exactly
genetics,
what the
and I would
semblance
imagine
is.
you have a bunch of older guitars.
See, when I came in here the first time, that's what he had on the wall.
Oh yeah.
He had already prepared.
All right. All right. So here's what we are investigating. Bill Burr and Billy Corgan of the Smashing Pumpkins may in fact be half brothers. We've just been listening to the two of them be ambushed by Howie Mandel on a podcast where, you know what? Go back. You can back it up. If you're watching on YouTube, you can back it up. You can get all caught up. But let's look at these two. What are these two, in fact? See, we get distracted by the head because they both shave their head. That's unfair. If you put me in there, you'd be like, Pugs is one of their brothers too. You know, so don't get distracted by the head. Is there anything else? And I'm telling you, yes, there is. The smile. The smile is almost identical. They share their daddy's smile. Eyes. I mean, both of them have an Irish look to them, an ethnically Irish look to them. So again, I don't know that you can ascribe that to any specific genetic trait passed on by a father. It might just be a couple of ruddy Irish looking dudes. I'm willing to go with it. And I'm from this point forward, I'm just going to roll with, is this a new generation's Ronan Farrow? Is Frank Sinatra's son? Is it? I think it is. I mean, that one we all know is true. We all know that Ronan Farrow is not Woody Allen's son. Ronan Farrow is, in fact, genetically Frank Sinatra's son. He looks just like him. We know this. I think this is the same thing. I think Bill Burr and Billy Corgan are, in fact, brothers, and I'm just going to go with that now.
Prepared that before I walked through the door.
Well, that was our
first time.
That was our picture, not knowing that he was going to do this to us.
Yes.
You guys got a little more pigment on your side of the family, huh?
A little more pigment.
All right.
You got the better teeth, though, I think.
Well, my dad told us he was a dentist, so he didn't do the whole fucking musician thing. I actually think he was forced into being a dentist by his crazy parents, but I think he wanted to be a musician. So I think at least he was living the life, or pretending to be living. I mean, what do you do but laugh? It's so fucked up. Anyway, I feel like I don't want to go any further with this. I think we played along long enough, Howie. Can you come back?
All right, there you go. I don't know about you. Look, at the end of the day, Howie Mandel's got a smoking hot podcast. That's pretty good podcast content. I hate this world. I hate this world. I hate this world that we exist in now where we don't know what's up. We don't know. I can see things. I see things with my own eyes. I see things. I process it. I see these things. And then I see a whole bunch of other people. You didn't see what you saw. What? So I don't know what this world is, man. I don't know if that's a bit. And by the way, this whole AI thing, have you seen these we see these videos of people, celebrities, and they're saying these wild things in press conferences. I have absolutely no idea what's real anymore. Did they really say that? And then I'm like, I can't believe they'd say that. And then somebody's like, it's obviously AI. And I'm like, obvious to who? Help me. Let's see here. What else do we have? All right, why not? Let's go into the coaching thing. Yeah, let's talk. We'll end the show here with some coaching stuff. I talked earlier about how I kind of got this a new appreciation for Ben Johnson, the new head coach of the Chicago Bears, the hottest coach in the market. We got him. Good. You know what? That's not bragging because usually we don't get him. Usually we go for the weird guy from Canada like Mark Trestman. But yeah, so anyway, we got him, and he's the more and more I hear from him, because you don't really know the personality of the offensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions. He calls a good offense and he game plans well, and they've had success. That's what we know. We don't know his personality, so we're starting to get to know his personality. He's kind of a dick. I kind of like it. He's kind of like, he's got a chip on his shoulder. He's good. I'm not going to say that he's Dan Campbell, because I don't know that Dan Campbell had a chip on his shoulder. But Ben Johnson definitely, two people for no reason catching strays, direct strays. Well, in second case, not direct. In Ben Johnson's opening press conference, he talked about why he wanted to stay in the NFC North, and he talked about what high regard he has for the competition in the North, and that it's the best division in football, and that he knows it. I mean, that's really the reason. I mean, it's like, you've spent the last few years, you are very familiar with this division. You would love to now not have to learn a whole new division. So Ben Johnson is talking like that. And he said, oh yeah, and I also really enjoy beating Matt LaFleur twice a year. Now, you might let that just blow by you. You'd be like, well, that's just, they're rivals, Bears, Packers, and he's just, he's kind of patronizing the Chicago Bear fan that wants to see him throw a little smoke Green Bay's way. But no, man, that was a little bit weirder. He enjoys beating Matt LaFleur twice a year. Here's why it was weirder. He don't know Matt LaFleur like that. You see a lot of times these coaches, they'll like call other coaches out, but that they were on the same staff together 10 years ago at San Jose State, or they used to work together. Like they know, like they're friends. They come from the same tree. Ben Johnson and Matt LaFleur don't know each other like that. Ben Johnson had no reason to call out Matt LaFleur by name, so that was interesting. But then when he was talking about his path to head coaching, he talked about how he had to come up from the very bottom. I mean, he was, and he had to restart. He was the offensive coordinator under Adam Gase years ago with Miami, and Gase got blown out, and he had no job. And in order to continue the path, he had to take a quality control job with the Detroit Lions. That's like the lowest member of the coaching staff. This is a guy who was an OC. And in order to get back in, he had to go all the way back down to the bottom. Luckily, he was probably only 30 years old, so he was willing to do it. And so he's telling this story about how within the Detroit Lions organization, he had to kick ass at every single step in the organization, and now he's a head coach. So it was great. But what he said was, I didn't have it like some of the other people. I didn't have a famous daddy. I didn't have somebody looking out for me. Which was him, another chip on his shoulder. Like, yeah, I ain't this rich kid. I ain't special. I ain't no Sean McVay, whose grandpa is like the most legendary dude. And He's not a guy like Kyle Shanahan, whose daddy Mike Shanahan's got a couple of Super Bowls. He's not Brian Schottenheimer. I thought that was cool. So it was kind of edgy. I really appreciated that. What are the Cowboys doing? What is the latest on the Cowboys? Hold on, let me see here. I like that my coach has an edge. I like that he's kind of a dick. He ain't dopey. He's like, which is what we need. What is the latest as of right now? Chat room, help me out. What are we talking about with the Cowboys? Does the firing down there in Houston of Bobby Slowick, offensive coordinator, is firing? Is he now going to be the head coach? Is he like top guy, or is it still Brian Schottenheimer? I have no idea what the Cowboys are doing. All I know is that there are 2 head coaching openings left. I mean, the Cowboys, look, okay, I don't want to go on a Cowboys rant here, but the Cowboys are really screwing this whole situation. Now, we know that they got caught with their pants down. The Cowboys never intended to be looking for a head coach here. They thought they could string along Mike McCarthy. They screwed the pooch on that because, once again, Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones and everybody calling the shots there at the Star were woefully poorly informed about the state of things. Mike McCarthy knows that he's in control. Mike McCarthy knows that he's in demand. So, Jerry's like, yeah, I'm going to make him beg for his job. Guess what, Jerry? He didn't beg for his job. The Chicago Bears came calling 1 week after the regular season ended. And you were like, what? Yeah, other people wanted Mike McCarthy. So now here you sit. You were once, there was once, what, 8 teams, 6 teams, something like that needed head coaches. 2 teams left. All the good ones are. Who are you going to go with now? The Raiders. The Raiders. I say Rams. Raiders going with Pete Carroll. Looks like the Jags are going with Liam Cohn. Could Bobby Slowick be on his way to Nolans? I don't know. But the pickings are slim, Cowboys. You guys been dicking around the last 4 days with Brian Schottenheimer. You better pull the trigger on that and commit fully, or get the fuck out of there and sign one of these guys who at least you can anchor the tag of future genius. That's what you want. You want the young, if you're going to take a young guy who's unproven, you probably at this stage, I mean, Liam Cohn's gone, but you wanted somebody like that. You want like Liam Cohn. You want Bobby Slowick, who's now available. You don't want the guy that's inside your own building. He sucked. You guys sucked. What are you doing? You hire him. It's just going to be here's why I think they hire him. I think they hire him to fire him. They hire him. They're like, you know what? We think so-and-so is going to be available maybe in a year. Maybe they think Mike Tomlin's got one more year. Maybe they think Kyle Shanahan's going to be moving, whatever. Maybe Jerry thinks in the next couple of years there's going to be a big name coach that's going to be available, and he's going to reinvent the Dallas Cowboys. And in the meantime, here's a guy who's been washing your towels for the last 4 seasons. The Cowboys are really... Look, why am I being optimistic? Because that is an optimistic way of looking at the Cowboys. It's suggesting that maybe they've got a greater plan. I don't think they do, honestly. I think they were caught with their pants down. I don't know. I wanted Pete Carroll, man. I really wanted Pete Carroll. I thought that's a guy that could walk in, who could handle, look, walking in and becoming the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, not deserved. It's not deserved. It shouldn't be this way, but it is. Walking in as the new head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, man, you got to be able to take it. You got to be able to stand in the spotlight because that's a big stage. And again, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Colin Cowherd, he had a rant last night. I don't know if you like Colin Cowherd or not, but you can find this on YouTube. Just Colin Cowherd and then something he did in the last 24 hours on the Cowboys. But he talked about how the Dallas Cowboys, Colin Cowherd said that the Dallas Cowboys are the greatest, what did they say? The greatest implosion of an historic American sports brand that he's ever seen. But that, what he's talking about here is that's true. There's the Yankees. There's the Lakers. There's the Cowboys. Those are the great prestige brands in American sports. Cowboys are the McDonald's of their genre. They ain't the Burger King or the Wendy's. They're the McDonald's, right? They're the Coca-Cola. They're not the RC or the Pepsi. They're Coca-Cola. Cowboys are a brand. Coward was talking last night about how he's never seen a brand go from the heights that it was to where it is now. And what he's talking about is the way people around the league see the Cowboys. And then he said the meanest thing I've ever heard anyone say about the Dallas Cowboys. Colin Cowherd looked into the camera and he said, the Dallas Cowboys are now as important as the Jacksonville Jaguars. Whoa! Whoa! Sell that team. Which is what I always go back to because, yeah, when they do sell that team, this so-called diminished brand is going to set the record for the most expensive sports franchise ever sold. So let's slow that roll, Colin. Although it was interesting to hear him go that way. Adam says McCarthy was the play caller, not Schottenheimer. Not that I want him, just saying he was the OC in title only. Yeah, that's another thing. You know, the OC jobs, there's like a whole bunch of OC openings. Like there's only 2 head coaching openings, but I think there's like 12 OC openings in the league. Not the least of which is, you know, well, the Lions. So if you are the hottest OC available right now, and quite honestly, I got to believe that's at this point, it's Bobby Slowick, right? I mean, everybody's kind of surprised that he was fired in Houston, or maybe not. I don't know, but he's a hot name. You got to imagine Bobby Slowick is on a plane right now to Detroit. Right? You got to imagine that Dan Campbell needs to replace Ben Johnson. And oh my God, are you telling me that CJ Stroud's offensive coordinator is suddenly available? So that seems like a no-brainer. Unless Jerry, you know, intercepts that flight with, hey, Bobby, you want to be an HC? Is he ready for that? I don't know. And is that the kind of thing? I don't think that's what this Cowboy team needs. What this Cowboy team needs is Pete Carroll, not a first-time head coach with a lot of upside. If I'm being truthful with you, what this Cowboy team needs right now is Mike McCarthy. that's what they need. They need someone that's going to right this ship, a veteran who can be taken seriously, not some new first-time head coach who a number of players are going to test. Nobody tests Mike McCarthy or Pete Carroll. That's not how that goes. Cowboys. Guys, I got nothing else to do. I want to thank one more time our executive producer on today's show, the incredible Cam. Cam, once again, man, thank you. As I say, man, these mid-month tips, thank you. I appreciate you. Tip me like I'm your bartender, or tip me like I'm your car valet, whatever it is. I'm dropping food off at your house. I do this every day. Round about noon, it is talk radio the way I think talk radio needs to be again. Non-political, non-divisive, just fun, just stupid. Hey, you tuned in today and learned that Billy Corrigan and Bill Burr are brothers. Spread it. Spread it. Tell a bunch of people today. Tell a bunch of people this weekend. Trust me, is there a better, like, we're going out drinking with friends story than that? You're welcome. That's what you get when you tune into this show every day. That's got to be worth something. Today's executive producer, Cam, thought so thank you very much. What else do I need? What else do I need to remind you of? There's something else that I wanted to mention. Let me see here. Oh, wait, maybe there is one more thing. Hold on. Oh, yeah. I'll leave you with this, right? This is like the perfect thing to leave. I'll leave you with this. Last night or yesterday on the show, we talked about the Oscar nominations, and I was talking about that film, Emilia Perez, which apparently has been nominated for more things than any other. It's like the most nominated film this year, Emilia Perez. And it's the story, all right? I said, here's what I want to say about Emilia Perez. Yesterday on the show, I said that there is no way I'm going to see that movie. Why? Because the way it's been marketed and branded so far, to me, seems like, I don't want to see that. That doesn't. Are they singing? Is this a musical? So it's a trans person, and they got no harm, no foul, not a problem. I'm a guy, right? I like car chases. Are there car chases? What's happening? And this doesn't seem like I'm supposed to like it. So why do I feel guilty when I say I don't want to go see Amelia Perez? Probably a wonderful film. I have no interest in it, okay? I have no interest in a whole bunch of things, and that is one of them. And it's not specifically because of the subject matter, although, let me tell you what I realized last night about the film Amelia Perez, okay? So Amelia Perez is being marketed as the story of a trans woman who runs a drug cartel. All right? Now, I didn't know about the drug cartel part. I didn't know that this was like a, drug cartel kind of thing. Because now I'm like, okay, I maybe shouldn't say that I'll never see this because I love like cartel movies. That's one of my genres that I love. So I'm like, okay, so it's the story of a trans woman who runs a drug cartel. I think that's presented wrong. I think that I will see this movie, or I would be more likely to see this movie if it was presented more like this. Amelia Perez is the story of a drug cartel leader who's also trans. Like, if you had said that, I'd be like, yeah, that sounds nuts. Like, could you imagine Pablo Escobar if he was like in a dress? That sounds awesome. I'll see that. But that's not how it was marketed, like different. It was marketed trans first. And I think that this sort of embodies the pushback that a lot of otherwise nice people who would be allies. If the chips were down, they would be allies. But I think it's that kind of thing that causes a lot of us to be like, just stop it. Doesn't have to be trans first. So this is the story of a brave trans woman who becomes the leader of a cartel. No, it's the story of a dirty, horrible, criminal cartel boss who's also trans. That's the story. Are we looking for glory in the fact that she's a trans person who, despite being trans, became one of the great cartel boss? No. Leave people alone. Okay? Your soul-defining characteristic shouldn't be your that. Okay? So I might see this movie now. It's a cartel story. Although there is still like singing and dancing. I saw a clip and there was singing and dancing, and I'm like, no, I don't think so. But anyway, my apologies to Amelia Perez, because maybe it's cool. Like if Narcos, like I love Narcos. If there was like a lead character in a season of Narcos who was a trans cartel boss, I would not watch it. I wouldn't be like, oh, you ain't watching that. They're shoving it down. I wouldn't. I'd be like, oh, that's crazy cool. Like, oh, it's off the rails, man. This show is nuts. It's so fun. But the way they marketed this, Amelia Perez, they marketed it like it was like, it's a great movie for trans people. I'm like, no, it's also maybe a good cartel movie. And maybe the fact that, the star is trans, maybe that doesn't need to be so front and center. Maybe you just let it occur and let people realize that. And that's sort of the beautiful way that we all, but when you're like, no, you must appreciate that, people are going to naturally push back. And again, these other people who I'm telling you in other situations would probably be dependable allies. It's just the way these things are presented. This is a trans movie. I'm like, no, it's not. It's a cartel movie. Person happens to be trans, but it's a movie about drug cartels. Now I'm interested. All right, folks, that's going to do it for this weekend. For this week, we'll be taking the weekend off. I'm going to hang out with my kid. I love these kid weekends. He's not a kid. He's a giant 15-year-old side of beef. It's like 260 pounds. I'm like, dude, how big are you going to get? He's like, I got to get like really barrel chest. I'm like, okay, all right. He's getting really big. He's gotten really big in the last like 3 weeks. Like since the football season ended, my kid has gotten even bigger. So I don't know what that's about, but I better not be doing roids. That ain't roids. Trust me, I came from the roids era. I was playing high school football in the late 1980s. Okay? Yeah. The roid era. Everybody did roids. I tried it. I did a cycle. And then I got fat because I didn't work out. So I was like, I'm never doing these again. There's no reason for me to do these. And let me tell you something else. 1986, we were buying the roids from a coach. who was also a teacher. So there you go. It's the world I lived in. When I tell you there were no rules in the 80s and the 70s, don't just shrug your shoulder and go, oh, there's Pugs being dramatic. There were no rules. We bought steroids from our assistant football coach, who was also a teacher at the high school. Like 16-year-olds buying steroids. The 1980s, folks. That's why we are what we are. Okay. It's going to do it. Drop a little tip if you like this kind of talk radio. If not, I don't care. I still think you're cool just for checking us out. Come back Monday around about noon. Have a great weekend. Go Bills. Love you.